My name is Aino Lavoi and I am from Estonia. We finally ended up in Germany, but we were put in concentration camp. They put us in a railroad car. It was so many people that we only were standing. We couldn't even lay down or anything.
At Fagan Fighters World War II Museum, we are known for authenticity. And we felt because the Holocaust predated the war and was very active throughout the war up until the end, it needed to be included. So we decided that we needed an authentic boxcar and began our search, which took years in order to actually find one. We were introduced to a German gentleman by the name of Joachim Yogi Repman.
And he started a search, and it just so happened that his uncle recently retired from the German railroad. And when he asked him if he knew of any original boxcar that could have been used during the Holocaust, he says, "Yes, I know where there is one." And it ended up in this small community in Germany, East Germany. The car was manufactured in 1899, and it was used on the German railroad until 1954. And they no longer used that rail in that area, and the car remained at a small depot there, which some volunteers started a museum. And they wanted to make sure it went in the right hands. We succeeded in putting a deal together, and we were excited.
We flew into Leipzig, Germany, and Yogi picked us up, and we drove to Georgenthal, Germany, to the museum where it was, and got to meet the people and see it loaded.
We contacted a company in South Dakota that restores wagons and stagecoaches, stuff from the 1800s. They said, the trend now is do not restore this artifact. If you have an artifact that is so important, you want to preserve it. And they told us to use Danish oil on it, and that would seal steel from rusted anymore and keep the wood from deteriorating. The roof had so many different shingles and repairs that we just covered it with a piece of rubber just to make it look a little bit more presentable. The car that you're looking at behind me is an original car, untouched, and just preserved.
We worked with Split Rock Studios of St. Paul. We've worked with them before and know that they are so capable of it, so creative, and they helped us a lot in developing our scene, and I think they did a good job.
So the Fagans acquired this boxcar, and they want to do a story about how humans were being moved on the rail system across Europe during World War II. Everybody pretty much knows about the Jewish story and the rail cars and the Jews being moved to concentration camps, the death camps, horrible stories. And we're going to include that story. But we also want to expand it because they also use the rail cars to move POWs from place to place. So the boxcar sits at an angle in the room with one corner of the car itself sort of dividing our scene in two. So on one side we see a fairly demolished, bombed out European city with a crowd of Jews being guarded by the SS and herded onto a boxcar. On the other side we see Allied POWs, there's some English and American pilots being unloaded from the boxcar by Volkssturm troops. And Volkssturm troops are, the draft age went up to age 60 in Germany by the end of the war. So these are old men, not what you'd call elite troops that are assigned to guard these POWs. Whereas on the other side, the SS is guarding the Jewish prisoners, which, you know, to my mind is, you put the elite troops to guard the most helpless, and you put the old, decrepit troops to guard the warriors. It's just one more of the strange things that went on in Europe during World War II. This project that we're doing is really unique, and it's unique for us. We've never made this many figures before. It's a very large-scale mural. We've painted larger murals, but I'm not sure that we've painted murals with more human details in them.
We decided to do this because we have a World War II museum which is not complete without this story. It was a terrible event that needs to be remembered so it doesn't happen again. And so to us it means educating the future and keeping those stories alive. We feel it's very important.
History always repeats itself. So you hope that some of the history is taught to maybe make people think twice about whether they should do something or not. We don't want World War II or the Holocaust to ever happen again.
Personally, this exhibit means a lot to me. My dad was in World War II. He was a combat veteran, and he's passed now, but I didn't really get too deeply into it. He was a very typical combat veteran, didn't talk about it a lot when he came home. But since his passing, I for various reasons, really kind of got into World War II history. So it's very fulfilling for me to be able to think about these things, to be able to bring them to other people. And I think I'm speaking for the other guys, the guys working on the murals, the guys working on the figures, I think I can say the same for them.
On May 21st last year, we had an opening event. It was hugely attended, and we had a Holocaust survivor he was from Hungary at the time, and he spoke. Steve Hunnings of the JCRC, which is Jewish Community Relations Council of Minnesota and the Dakotas, was here. We have formed a great friendship with him, and his group. It was an amazing event. It has been an emotional event for a lot of people. The older people, people who are veterans or had a veteran who helped liberate the camps or in any way connected with it, them probably more than others, but some young people too that just know about it.
I was lucky, yeah, a lot luckier some other people that perished in a death camp and everything. So I'm thankful for good Lord that I'm still here. I just forgive what we went through. I don't feel any grudge against what Germans done. Good Lord will punish them some way. It's up to them. A lot of people don't believe what really happened, but it is. I was there, and that is what Germans done, the Nazis. It is true. It is not make-believe at all. It's a true story.
Preserving history for us has evolved over time here, because at first we were doing it for the older generation. Now, as the older generation leaves us, we realize that, you know, we need to be looking at the younger generation, and it's a wonderful thing because it's for them actually that this is here.
We're not the largest museum in the world, surely, but we're trying to have high quality artifacts that have, good meaning to them and make it something very special to get people to come here. And the young and the old are coming. People just want to know more what happened. And a lot of people really probably heard about the Holocaust, but that was it. But now they're seeing firsthand with the boxcar, our models and our photos here, and very moving. And I think it's something that the people here that have come to visit have walked away with. So they can't believe it, what happened. And we got to learn something from some of this history to keep that from happening. And it's very important that we keep telling the story.
Visit pioneer.org/postcards to catch up on missed episodes and to find out more about your favorite segments. This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yakel-Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts, offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflections Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota. Explore hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for a great vacation or a place to hold an event. ExploreAlex.com. Tri-State Brain and Spine Institute, with locations in Alexandria, Edina, Crookston, and Maple Grove. Doctors dedicated to evaluating and treating all types of brain and spine problems, no matter how complex.